Hi divas, welcome back. You all saw the title of this video, so you know what we're here to talk about today. I oh, good morning. Are you awake? This is Sunshine's new favorite hangout spot back there. I got a job. I'm so excited. I've been sitting on this for a little bit. Not crazy long, but I'm just somebody who believes in not jinxing stuff. So I have been waiting until all the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed. And if you're seeing this, that means that I am probably in my first week of work. It is a hybrid job, so I will be spending some time at the office and some time working from home, which I think is great. Initially, I wanted a fully remote job because I thought that was going to be what was best for my health. But this kind of like split time schedule, I think, is actually going to be good for me. It'll get me out of the house. It'll get me active, and I'll get to see and interact with more people on a daily basis. So I'm excited. I'm nervous. I can't give too much information because I just don't want my information out there. But I'm like really thrilled about it. There is a probationary period at the beginning where they are making sure that it is a good fit. And then at the end of that probationary period, it will like move forward into, the whole shebang, full-time permanent, all that. It is being an executive administration at a financial institution, which is what I was doing before. A lot of people didn't understand. By the way, I'm drinking seltzer water with this white balsamic vinegar, which I will have linked in my description box because it is really good. And I just like put enough in to like color the seltzer water, and it tastes almost like an unsweetened creamsicle seltzer. And it's healthy. The vinegar is good for your stomach. And this comes from a small business. And I highly recommend you give it a try. What was I saying? Oh yeah. It was very similar to my last job, what I was doing before. And it took a long time to find the right job for me and the right company for me, because working in a financial institution, it can be very intense. There is a big initiative right now in the financial industry to get everybody back to the office full time, which I don't feel physically capable of with, the long COVID that still affects my daily life. And finding a role like this and with the people and team that I would be working with, it just feels like kind of the stars aligned, and I am really, really excited to get started with them. The other thing is they approved a vacation that I had planned in the works for a long time. And so I'm going to start the job and then pretty soon after take this vacation that I've had planned for a very long time to visit family overseas. I will spill more about that in the future because I will be taking you guys with me on that. And it just seems like it's going to be a really good fit. So besides just announcing that I got a job, I wanted to talk a little bit in this video about my job search and about kind of what I do and why I do it and kind of how that happened. Because a lot of people don't understand how, like, oh, you're a professional opera singer. Like, what does that look like? So I will be honest, I do not know a lot of single professional opera singers who make a full-time living that is completely related to opera. Um, I know many opera singers who are married to a partner who can pay half of the bills or more than half of the bills, who put it out there that they are a full-time opera singer. And I know full-time opera singers who are supported by somebody else, either parents, or they live with someone, or their rent is paid, or their housing is paid for, or something like that. And I know opera singers who supplement their singing income with teaching income or seminar income, or they're professors at universities, or they teach at a singing school or singing program during the summer, or they kind of cobble together an income to live on through a lot of different means. And then I know a set of singers who do essentially what I am doing, which is they have correlating careers. So they are an opera singer and a real estate agent. They are an opera singer and a website designer, graphic designer. They are an opera singer and an accountant. And they sort of make both of those things work for them in some capacity. So for me, with what I was doing while I was getting my master's degree, which was working 4 jobs and being a full-time student, 4 part-time jobs and being a full-time student, I sort of made the decision that I didn't want to do that anymore, and I wanted to get one more stable job and sing outside of that and support myself as a singer. And as I mentioned in a previous video, one of the ways I supported myself and made money as a singer is by singing at churches as a choral singer and as a solo singer. And I made, a decent additional income. I made about, I think the last year that I was doing that full time before I got sick, I was making around $8,000 or $10,000 doing that. So there's 52 weeks in a year, and I was making roughly $200 a week plus additional services, so weddings, funerals, etc. So that's not enough to live on, unfortunately, especially in New York City. But it is like a decent chunk of change and a decent like part-time income. So I needed, when I moved to New York City, to find something stable. My history before my master's degree was actually working in performing arts education and school. So I was doing managing box offices at performing arts schools, doing administrative work for performing arts schools. And I did continue that into my in my master's degree. That was one of my part-time jobs. I was the assistant manager of audience services for the theater department at the university that I attended. And so I kind of managed not only I oversaw all the student employees, but I managed all of the performances and events that took place in that theater. And I oversaw ticket sales, and I did all kinds of budget and all kinds of stuff. And I took that experience, and when I moved to New York, I submitted my stuff, my materials and my resume through a temp agency, and I got a receptionist role at a financial firm. And that sort of 9-to-5 stable job afforded me more income than I had made working and cobbling together 4 jobs when I was getting my master's degree. So I was really grateful for that job. It was very tiring uh, in that I was constantly going to performances or rehearsing after work, but it was worth it to me. And I stayed with that financial firm for 6 years. I stayed with that financial firm through the pandemic. I was the only essential worker for that financial firm during that time. And unfortunately, I caught COVID at that financial firm. I cannot, confirm or anything, but there were a lot of sick people in the office one day, and unfortunately, a couple days later, and it was after a large corporate event that I did not attend, but I was at work when a lot of people were sniffly after that large super spreader event, and I caught COVID. Again, I cannot confirm or definitively say where I caught COVID from. Nobody can, but I was like repeatedly promoted at that firm and became an executive assistant to some financial analysts who I really, really liked. And I enjoyed my job. I enjoyed the people I worked with. And then, after a certain time, I lost my job. And I suspect that they did not like that my health condition was improving only very slowly and I was not all better yet. That is how it sounded to me in the conversation with human resources. But again, I cannot say what definitively happened there. But a lot of people, so basically explaining my work history and sort of the jobs I was looking for and how my job search went. I was prioritizing essentially a work environment and a company that was remote or hybrid, which is difficult these days because the United States job market is very, very challenging. And I was prioritizing a company where I could get like a good feeling about who I would be supporting or the team that I would be working on or who I was reporting to, or I felt like I could, work effectively and efficiently, and I wouldn't be sort of in competition with people. I hope like any of this makes sense. I'm trying to be as specific and clear as I can be without saying anything that I like can't say or shouldn't say, if that makes sense. Part of the reason why I didn't announce it as soon as I signed the job offer or like got the job was because earlier on in my job search I had verbally been offered a job. And it was pending for 5 weeks. And then unfortunately the verbal offer was rescinded. So I just don't like announcing things before they're 100%. And I don't like the idea that like when you have like a lot of eyes on you, it's really important to speak very clearly and decisively and not sort of say the wrong thing and wind up with your foot in your mouth. So, long story short, I was looking for roles in finance. I was kind of open to different industries, but that's what my experience is in. I was applying to roles in tech as well, because I was specifically looking for a more remote friendly role. And I was looking for roles as either like an executive or administrative assistant, or coordinator, or a project manager, all of which I have experience in my job history. And sorry, I'm trying to think. But I was open across industries. I was primarily focused on, kind of having a good work life balance, something being friendly to my health and my creative aspirations. Um, and the financial industry, as I mentioned, is having a big return to office. So, where I previously got hired through a staffing agency and a temp agency, um, all of the roles that I was being sort of presented with through recruiters and temp agencies were all fully in the office, 4 days in the office. They were such that I don't think I could have physically managed that, and done like anything else, have any kind of a social life, have any, like, I wouldn't have had the energy to do anything. And unfortunately, that comes with having a chronic illness and a disability, is not all jobs are going to work. And that stinks, because there were roles that paid a lot of money and that I like thought perhaps maybe, but I wouldn't have been able to. If I was working 5 days a week in an office, I wouldn't be able to get dinner with anybody after. I'd have to go home and lay down. I would be exhausted all the time. I would have to outsource everything, because when you have a chronic illness, your energy is limited. So it was a really challenging job search, and the market is really tough right now, and there is a lot of hoops that you have to go through. I got ghosted by so many companies. My little job search tab in my Gmail is full of like over 1,000 emails, and I want to say that 2/3 of those are just rejection emails. And I was unemployed for 10 months before receiving this offer, which is a long search. Now, granted, 2 of those months I spent doing Space Maker, and I chose to take some time to recuperate and sort of recover from what felt a little bit like burnout after I was let go from my last job. But I was searching for a solid 6 months, 7 months, which is a long time, especially when you're actively working with multiple recruiters and like really like applying every single day and interviewing all the time. It was a very intensive process, but I'm really excited. This company seems very work-life balance. There is health insurance, which was like, I was getting a little scared about that, and especially when you have a chronic illness, the health insurance is critical and key. I believe, due to the hybrid schedule, that I will still be able to pursue my creative interests like this venue, and also practice my singing, especially on the days when I'm working from home. At least do my warm-ups and stuff. And I'm just really excited. It feels like I have a new chapter coming. I'm also really excited for the content that it's going to mean for this channel. So, office outfit content and, a day in the life of, a corporate diva-rina in New York City. And it sort of feels like I'm getting a 100% fresh start, and I'm very excited. It still feels a little surreal, and I do have some anxiety about kind of getting back out there and going back to work, if that makes sense. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Hopefully it makes sense. Um, it still feels a little surreal. I still kind of catch myself being nervous it's going to get like taken away from me like the last job did, and I still kind of am pinching myself a little bit, or like wondering for the other shoe to drop, or like what's the catch kind of. But it is all real. It is happening. When I am posting this, I will have started working there. So I am pre-filming some content so that it gives me a little bit of time and space to adjust to working again. So I hope you guys are okay being a bit patient with that. And okay, that's it. I think that's all I wanted to tell you in this video. It's a short one. I'm very excited. And I feel like I've been waiting for this for a very long time, and I really don't think I would be feeling as good about it without having had you guys kind of cheering me on along my way, and supporting me and sending me a $5 super thanks or buy me a coffees on PayPal. And you guys have just been so supportive as I've been kind of stumbling through and finding my way, and I'm just really, really grateful. And just because I found a full-time job doesn't mean that this is going to stop at all. If anything, I think it's just the beginning, and I'm really excited to see what happens and where it leads. If you guys are not subscribed, please subscribe. I'm so close to 8,000 subscribers, and I don't know why. Like I've always liked the number 8. It's been like one of those little like things for me. So I would love to cross 8,000 subscribers. Give this video a like, leave a comment with your thoughts or feelings, what you'd like to see, and any questions you may have. I'm planning on filming a Q&A again soon. I know there's been a lot of like indoor inside videos lately of me just kind of chitty chatting, but I don't know if you've seen it outside, but it is really snowy and really cold. And I appreciate your patience with that. Oh, and hype the video if you feel like it so that more people can see my channel and potentially subscribe. That would be great. And I will see you guys again soon. I got a job. I got a job. I'm so excited. It's starting soon. Yeah, this has been a long time coming. Okay. Anyway, thanks. Sunshine, say thank you. She says thank you. See you guys soon. Bye.